Hey everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live, and once again, it's Monday afternoon where we have our insurance talk with Priest Insurance. I'm here with Dan Priest, and Dan, we were talking before the show, and I said, what are we going to talk about today? And you said life insurance. You know, we've had a lot going on in my family where we had to pay for a funeral. We've got a new
Mm-hmm.
granddaughter, and so let's talk about life insurance, as far as how you start it, what you need to do. Does it change as you get older? Let's just cover a general life insurance, because that's really something that people don't think about.
Well, we talk about insurance all the time, and nobody really wants to talk about insurance because we all kind of don't like it or don't want to talk about it. And life insurance might be at the top of that list. But it's a funny thing. So in starting that conversation, you go to the grocery store, right? And they have fruits and vegetables and different size cans of beans and different types of meats. And so life insurance is like that too. Sometimes there are so many different ways to use life insurance, and there's so many different products to fund it, that you really have to understand what the need is. You've heard about final expenses. Well, that's one thing, covering final expenses, and that can be solved pretty easily for small policies. Some people can pre-fund that. That's in cash. You can self-fund that. But what life insurance may really be is not life insurance, but it's really, maybe let's call it options, okay? It provides options for somebody. Talk about a granddaughter or a grandson in my case. A young couple get married. So what happens if dad doesn't come home tomorrow, next week, next day, next month, next year? Where does that leave mom and the kids? And possibly in situations where they're forced to get into another place that don't really need to be in, just to cover that option. The same thing happens with what happens if mom doesn't and she's the primary caregiver. What's dad going to do?
Right, because daycare is expensive, and
daycare is expensive, and think about all the things that's going to happen with him. So initially, people sometimes try to solve that problem with the grandest policy ever that is just out of most people's price range. And the thing with insurance is you have to buy the right amount, the right pot size of money.
right.
Okay, and there's different ways to do that. Yes, just like you can get a Denali, right, or you can get a work truck,
Yeah.
right, but they both get you there. Sometimes it does it better. So term insurance is a product we use quite a bit. Young man, 25, 30 years old in good health, might be able to get $1 million for $25 a month.
Right.
It's pretty cheap to cover that problem.
Does that go up as you get older, or does it stay the same price if he pays it on time, and he's got $1 million policy and he pays it on time, automatic withdrawal, which is the easiest? Does that stay at $25 until he does pass away?
That's a great question. Okay, so there's different types of products. There's something that was old called whole life, and then there's products that are designed to be permanent that aren't really fall under that whole classification of whole life. And then there's what I was talking about is term. So term is for a term. So let's say you have a newborn, and so for the next 20 years, for the next 10 years, the next 20 years, the next 30 years, you have a specific need. In the first 10 years, that need is super high because it is daycare. And the next 10 years, you're talking about, you want to make sure your son is able, or daughter is able to go to college, that is able to get that car, or if the event that both parents died, that they're the people that are going to be watching that kid, do they have enough cash to be able to take care of that child? So term insurance is really, really cheap, and it also does some other things. And for that term, whatever you agree to, 10, 20, 30 years, the premiums do stay the same, and they're typically very low because you're just buying pure insurance. But it does, most term policies do some amazing other things. They can guarantee insurability. So let's say you have $1 million in life insurance, okay? 20 years, and it's a 30-year policy. 20 years down the road, things happen. You become diabetic, you get a little bit of heart disease, cancer creeps in. Many term policies have a guaranteed convertibility option that you can convert a portion of that policy to a permanent policy that will stay the rest of your life. Now it's at that attained age, so if it's 40, it's 40, but you can convert it and it will take you through when you may not be able to get insurance. I have a family member that happened to develop cancer, but it's going to be very hard for them to buy insurance, but they have insurance at a preferred rate and they'll always be able to convert that portion. So there are so many things about life insurance that it can do in business arrangements, partnerships. Let's say you and I are in business, okay, and one of us passes, your half of that business goes to a spouse that may not work in that partnership agreement. So there you can use life insurance or specifically term, or if you want to use a permanent type policy and heavily fund it for cash for other reasons like deferred compensation, you can do that in conjunction with a buy-sell, and you can, at a predetermined price, buy out each other's half of that arrangement,
right,
and also make good for the family and the worth of the business.
I've got an life insurance policy that my mom and dad bought when I was born.
Right.
And I've got to die before 99. Or it's not going to pay anything.
Well, odds are in your favor. May the odds be ever in your favor.
So, it sounds like it's sort of like car insurance. It's one of those where you really need to sit down with someone at Priest and say, okay, this is what I'm looking to, why I want life insurance. Like for me, it may be, well, it's so that Chris can, live comfortably after
pay off
I
debts,
passed away, and pay off debts and not have to worry about anything. And I think, 500,000 will do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then at my age, you'll go in and say, okay, we can do it this way, or we can do it this way.
Yep. Yeah, there are different ways you can do it. And, again, there's so many of those different products and so many different ways to reach an end, means to an end. Yeah, like, we have sometimes people that have beach houses and they want to set that up in a trust or in an LLC, and then they want to fund that perpetually with life insurance for their heirs. So they can pay the bills, they can pay the insurance, and that's a cheap way to guarantee that.
It sounds like it's creative.
It can be.
And Beth and I had a conversation yesterday about a show we're getting ready to do about creative financing on, instead of asking for someone to go off the price of the house, get them to pay a point.
Yeah.
Or a point and a half, and lower your monthly payment. It sounds like this is the same way. It's really, you can go in and create exactly what you want.
There is, and think about their self-insurance, and let's say there's so many different things that you can do with it, but let's say you have a goal in your life of, for example, let's talk about a kid. So, and you want to make sure that kid or that grandson, maybe you want to set a perpetual trust that's an educational trust for someone. You can fund that with money, right? You can put money in that trust, but most people don't have the money to put in that trust right now.
Right.
Okay.
So they'll do it with a life insurance.
You can pre-fund that with a life insurance, so it's perpetual, and that legacy that you want to give is funded while you're trying to, and it doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money, while you are also doing what you want to do to create that in a true asset form through whether it's building wealth in other ways.
Right. Well, if people want to get hold of you to talk more about life insurance, or maybe look at what they have to make sure it's going to cover what they're looking for, how can they get hold of you?
Call us, 409-755-7600, or priestinsuranceagency.com, and give us a call. There's so many things you can do. It's a good thing.
Great. Well, every Monday afternoon we do insurance talk with Priest Insurance, and we're getting off the house and boat and getting into some other things. We've got some shows coming up too about talking what all they do, because they're not just an insurance company. I don't know what the word is, but they can make your life a whole lot easier and really help you out through business, whether it's business venture or you guys even do some investment stuff, don't you? Or used to? Do you do some of that? So anyway, we'll be back next Monday at 4 o'clock with Insurance Talk with Priest Insurance. It's a show every Monday you can see on our social media channels, and you can catch it on Bolivar Live TV on Roku and Amazon Fire and YouTube. Also, you can go back up to 2 months and see our shows on the Bolivar Live TV. So a lot of people have called in wanting to know something, and I say, hey, go back 3 weeks ago on Bolivar Live TV and you can watch the show, or you can see it on YouTube. So, well, let's go get some coffee.
Sounds good.
I'm David with Bolivar Live. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless, and bye-bye. Priest Insurance Agency has been located in the heart of Lumberton, Texas since 2001, providing a consultative approach and educating customers on how their insurance works for them throughout the coastal region of Texas. Priest Insurance specializes in the coastal region of Texas, covering home, auto, business, and recreational insurance. With ties to the coastal communities, Dan Priest has had the sand between his toes since 1972, with a home on Bolivar Peninsula in Galveston County. He survived a storm named Ike, but lost his home. With insurance coverage, his family was able to rebuild following the 2008 storm and continues to make memories beachfront. Priest Insurance specializes in the coastal communities, family dwellings, investment property, and business insurance. They've been there. Whether you're looking for or have a family retreat along the Texas coast, investment property, or a business, Priest Insurance would be honored to work with you and your family to make sure you're covered anytime trouble arises. For more information on Priest Insurance and their contact information, please visit their website at www.priestinsuranceenagency.com, or their office is open for phone calls with questions and consultation Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. by calling 409-755-7600. Priest Insurance Agency, working and educating customers, making sure they understand and have the coverage they deserve.